Throughout history, music plays a powerful role in uniting people, inspiring change, and offering hope. Russian composers from 1924 to 1953 faced severe censorship under the communist regime of dictator Joseph Stalin. These restrictions significantly hampered their right to musical expression. Yet one brave composer, Dmitri Shostakovich, refused to be silenced. He felt a deep responsibility to assert his right of free expression and to give voice to the oppressed Soviet people. Written under the shadow of threat and punishment, Shostakovich's work remains a testament to the power of music and the resilience of the human spirit. Dmitri Shostakovich was born in 1906 near the end of Russia's golden age of music. His father worked as an engineer, and his mother cared for their home. Young Dmitri displayed musical talent at an early age and was enrolled at the St. Petersburg Conservatory at age 13. Shostakovich's early life unfolded amidst a country in turmoil. He witnessed the fall of the Russian monarchy and the rise of Soviet power. In 1917, Vladimir Lenin emerged to lead the new communist government of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. However, Lenin's premature death in 1924 ushered in an even more oppressive leader, one who would drastically alter the Russian music world, dictator Joseph Stalin. In 1924, Shostakovich burst into the world of music with his brilliant First Symphony. The young composer was quickly rising in the ranks of great Soviet artists. In 1934, he premiered his new opera Lady Macbeth of Minsk. The opera tells the story of a Russian woman who kills her abusive husband and runs away with her lover. It was a huge success. The audience loved it, and critics were effusive with praise. But one fateful evening in 1936, Joseph Stalin attended a performance of Lady Macbeth. Disturbed by the dissonant music and risque subject matter, Stalin stormed out mid-show. He had seen enough. Shostakovich would soon learn the consequences for offending the great leader. 1936 marked a critical period in Soviet history, as it was the beginning of Stalin's Great Purge. This widespread movement sought to silence Stalin's perceived critics. Historians estimate that in 2 years, nearly 1.2 million people died. No one was safe. Friends denounced friends. People were arrested in the middle of the night, never to be seen again. Paranoia spread like a disease. Free speech was suicide. Soviet playwright Isaac Babel wrote that a man could only talk freely with his wife, and even then, only at night, with the blanket pulled over their heads. Music, once a source of individual expression, was now commandeered by Stalin for propaganda. Historian Sheila Fitzpatrick explains, the party controlled culture, and Stalin controlled the party. Stalin dissolved the influential Russian Association of Proletarian Musicians and replaced it with the Union of Soviet Composers. Censors chosen by the party scrutinized every composition for formalism, a term to degrade a work as too Western. Composers lost their right to free musical expression. Those who failed to comply with the party's criteria risked severe repercussions. Some were even sent to labor camps. It was under this dark political cloud, on January 28, 1936, just 4 days after Stalin walked out on Lady Macbeth, that Shostakovich opened the Pravda, the newspaper published by the Communist Party. In the pages was an article titled Muddle Instead of Music. The article condemned Shostakovich for being a Western bourgeois composer who failed to write music for the Soviet people. It concluded with a warning. If Shostakovich did not change his ways, things may end very badly for him. Overnight, Shostakovich became a pariah. He lost work, he lost friends, and he worried about losing his life. In his memoirs, Shostakovich shared, "That article on the 3rd page of the Pravda changed my entire existence." Recognizing the pressure to conform, Shostakovich abandoned his experimental 4th Symphony and began to write a new one. He sought to create a piece that would fulfill the party's expectations, something optimistic, triumphant, and Soviet, something that would remove the stain of the Pravda article. On November 21st, 1937, Shostakovich premiered his Fifth Symphony. He titled the composition, A Soviet Artist's Creative Reply to Just Criticism. This new symphony was optimistic and triumphant. It included the obligatory happy ending, celebrating Soviet socialist glory. The authorities approved this new work. The public was ecstatic. With the Fifth Symphony, Shostakovich restored his personal and musical fortunes, escaping the catastrophe that befell other musicians. For years, Shostakovich's Fifth Symphony was viewed as Soviet propaganda, evidence of a great composer submitting to the Soviet government. However, in the late 1970s, Solomon Volkov published Testimony, The Memoirs of Dmitri Shostakovich, a book based on interviews with the composer. This book revealed Shostakovich to be a secret dissident who despised Stalin and included clandestine messages in his works. Around this time, Shostakovich also shared with his friend Kurt Sanderling that the ending of his Fifth Symphony, which included a single note played repeatedly by the strings and winds, was meant to symbolize the Russian word "ya," meaning me or I. According to conductor Joshua Wheelerstein, this note is played over 250 times in a row at the end of the symphony. It's as if Shostakovich is screaming at the top of his lungs that no matter what happens, he was still there, that he was still standing. In reviewing letters and diary entries from that time, it appears the Soviet people understood Shostakovich's hidden message of hope. The applause after the performance lasted nearly 1 hour. People openly wept. Lyubov Shapornya, wife of Yuri Shaporin, likened the response to a political demonstration. She wrote in her diary, "The whole audience leapt to their feet and erupted into wild applause, a demonstration of their outrage." Through his Fifth Symphony, Shostakovich evaded censorship while retaining his right to free expression. He used his music to send a message of hope to the Russian people. He encouraged them to not lose sight of their individuality, their personhood, their "ya." Today, music remains a beacon of light for those living under an oppressive regime. In the summer of 2021, the Taliban seized the country of Afghanistan. They immediately began restricting basic freedoms. Music of any form was completely silenced. A few weeks earlier, 25-year-old Afghan composer and pianist Arsen Fahim arrived in Boston to attend the Lanchy School of Music. He watched helplessly as terror unfolded in his homeland. For Arsen, music became a vehicle for sending messages of hope and resistance.
Every piece of music that I play, every note that I play, everything I write means so much more than just making sounds.
Arsen has organized concerts in solidarity with the people of Afghanistan. He feels a deep responsibility to keep music alive for them. Recently, he created an underground album of Afghan musicians secretly recording their music. The album, Unsilenced, sends a strong message that music cannot be silenced.
You can't really completely take away music from a culture, from a country, from humans. And it's just a matter of time until we get to do that in Afghanistan again someday.
As Americans, we often think of censorship as something that happened in the past or in other countries. However, in recent months, the debate around freedom of expression within the United States, especially on college campuses, has crescendoed into cacophony. It highlights the complexities of free expression and the responsibility to maintain safety and well-being. As Eleanor Roosevelt reminds us, with great freedom comes great responsibility. All music has sound, but only good music has a language that moves the heart. Whether through defiant words or a single note repeated 250 times, music has the power to inspire, support, and change the world. Let us speak then with voices that seek to harmonize our rights with our responsibilities. In the words of Shostakovich, one must speak the truth about the past, or not at all.